Bring back life form. Priority 1. All other priorities rescinded. I repeat, all other priorities are rescinded.
How do we kill it, Ash? There's gotta be a way of killing it. How? How do we do it?
You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? Perfect organism. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility.
You admire it.
I admire its purity. A survivor. Unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality. I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
So we might as well just start talking about this. Like, there's obviously two differences between these two movies, and it's hard to say one is better than the other. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Maybe it just depends on what type of movies you like, because you have sci-fi horror and you have sci-fi action.
Yeah, I like the sci-fi horror.
Me too.
Just a little bit more. I've always been into the horror theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just a totally different feel from the second one.
Yeah. Well, I think with the second one, it's all about building the lore now. You know, where the first one, it was just like, here's the introduction to aliens and to the creatures.
Right.
In part two, they start creating the lore and the history of them, you know, like in a way with saying that, you know, like there's many more of these things, you know, this is not an isolated creature, you know.
We got the queen
queens.
Yes, right? We never had the queen in the first one.
Like a hive mentality, you know, and where in the first one, it's just like, here, these things go to your face, they suck your face, and then they implant, and then it busts through your chest, and then it becomes the alien and just grows up in like a matter of a day. Right?
Yeah, and even sometimes, like in like 20 minutes, it's like fully grown. That's always been kind of sketchy.
Yeah,
in the Alien versus Predator movies and different things like that. Sometimes you have them, they're like, oh, okay, it's been 20 minutes and they're full grown. That's amazing. So,
well, and whenever they're in the ship and they found the Overmore eggs, there was tons of them.
Yeah, but it only takes one queen, you know, and not necessarily It creates, I mean, I think it creates these creatures by itself, you know, like what is it?
Asexual?
Yes. Like seahorses like that.
What? Seahorses?
Yeah.
I know the eels have those little tongues with the mouths on them and stuff like that. That's where they got that from.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what you're talking about with seahorses.
Oh, no, I'm saying like they don't need a male and a female to produce, just like with the alien creatures. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah,
and but with the queen, they did. Now things have changed with the lore on that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, before we
especially in the recent movies, the Prometheus and all that other stuff, that just added like oomph to.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to intro this, but I just want to talk about this right now because I watched this a little differently. Because, you know, I watch this occasionally and everything, but I really, you know, when we watch it for the podcast, we focus a bit more. And I found that I just watched it differently with the knowledge of David being behind, like, all the creation of the aliens
Magneto.
And why he created them and all that kind of, Magneto.
Perfection.
But
he wanted to create a new world, you know, I mean, just saying.
But I mean, there's still the question of what happened between Alien Covenant and the first Alien movie, right?
Yeah.
Because we thought that her taking off on that ship, that was probably the ship that crashed or whatever. And so, but they kept going, nope, that's not the right planet. Nope, that's not the right planet.
Yeah.
So I was like, you had a lot of fans saying, hey, when are we going to get to the crash ship that they found in the first one?
Do you think they maybe in the newer ones kind of created more of a like an alternate type timeline situation, maybe?
I don't think so, because it was all about David trying to get that organism to perfection.
I mean, and then you look at a movie like, or a character like Predator. You know, it's like you got one thing. That's all you need. You got one character,
and he had one job,
and one job, and he fails at it every time. Or each one of them failed everry time.
I mean, they got some. I mean, he did get some trophies there in his first movie and everything before Arnold took him.
Yeah, because weren't they in the Star Wars movies? Didn't that race get put into the Star Wars movies?
You're thinking of Spaceballs.
You all right? Yeah, the guy digs me. Hey, what's wrong with this guy? I don't know. Bring some water. Water my ass. Bring this guy some Pepto-Bismol. Waitress. What did he order?
Oh, here the special.
That's what I ordered. Oh, no. Not again.
No, I'm saying
baby, hello, my honey.
Yeah, the little top hat and everything. I remember that.
But no, I'm saying it wasn't in the some one of these alien movies. I thought it was that incorporated it into the Star Wars universe that was part of like the council, you know, or not the council, but the
I think you're thinking of E.T.
Yeah, you're thinking of E.T.
E.T. That's right.
Yeah,
I knew it was some sort of alien,
yeah.
but that's why I was like, was it Predators?
Is that considered racist?
Yeah. Well,
he backed up his bro Spielberg by putting that in. He's not friends with James Cameron.
yeah, because you know that would be. I don't think
elite.
that they would be allowed in the Senate because they literally hunt people.
I was gonna say, I don't
creatures.
think they'd sit in the
They
Senate
hunt
seats
other
and everything. They just be a massacre in there.
Can you imagine? You got
So we have these new representatives. Oh my God!
Yeah, you could. They end up killing everybody in the Senate, and they're like, "We rule."
We'd
now."
like to introduce this new race to the set. Oh no! Who let them in?
Aliens and predators. That's why these creatures can only exist in each other's world. You know what I mean? Like
they're trying to have like Congress and everything, and they're just like alien and predator, just like attacking. Each
But
other.
that's what I'm saying. Like you could transfer it just like E.T. went into Star Wars, and like you could put Yoda into E.T. or you could put Yoda into one of these other ones. These are two aliens you cannot put into any other world besides each other's
because all they want to do. Well, the Predator you could probably do.
Yeah, they have like
he
a
still
high
hunt
council.
everybody. He doesn't have no discretion whatsoever.
But that's during the hunt.
Yeah.
They obviously have technology, so they have some kind of civilized society to where they've evolved to where they can build this technology. They got spaceships, right? They got cloaking technology.
Well, it's like
so they've had some kind of civilization. It's just you don't want to be on the other end of the hunt.
No, but you got Star Trek, right? You've got the like Worf, the Klingons, right?
Yeah.
They are a very, very aggressive hunting type,
right?
But they got race, but they got their technology.
English.
Yeah,
Oh,
but they got their technology.
Predator,
It's kind of stated that they got a lot of their technology from other cultures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so it's like, can these guys have any other technology like civilized? I mean, or could it be just strictly just hunting all the time? Because you don't ever see a predator walking down the street in that world when they show the predator. It's like everybody's in the buildings for one, for the most part.
In which movie?
In any of the Predator movies. When they go back to their home world, I think they did it in AVP. Part 2.
Are you talking about the Predator's homeworld?
Yes, correct.
Where they dropped like the humans there to.
Yeah,
because that
was a hunting world.
Yeah, that was Adrian Brody, right? That guy.
But that was a hunting world, like he said.
Okay,
it wasn't their actual home planet.
I never saw that. I never saw their home planet or anything.
No, but you see it in AVP 2. You see
they have a lone
right. But but you don't see other, these. I know we're kind of getting into and off to but
Alien versus Predator is one of the most popular aspects of Alien.
So I was checking out. I went to Barnes and Noble and I found an AVP book, and it went into this lore of there's actually a high council and there's a chief hunting party that teaches all these younger they teach all these younger newer
Gotta
predators.
get into books, bro.
Oh yeah it's crazy.
I'm kind of weird like that. Like I love books, but I don't like the books to be, I don't know. Like I like to look at that world and just not go like you go into Star Wars. When you watch it, you don't just watch the movies. You read the lore, you read the books.
I live Star Wars.
Yeah, there's so much in between it all. I'm like that with anime though. Like I'll read manga just to find out like certain things that the anime leaves out. You know what I mean? But I'm like that with manga. But with Star Wars, like it's just you get so much into it, and then with Predator and Alien, I probably should read some of the material.
Yeah,
it
you
might be
should.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
Well, let me go ahead and intro this. Today we're going to be talking about Alien. This movie was directed by Ridley Scott, came out in 1979. The writers were Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. Or Shusett. I added too many H's. Shusett. Shusett? Shusett.
you're gonna have to do an apology.
Shusett.
You better find out.
I've been
Go to
pronouncing it
Google.
Shusett
It'll tell
all
you
day.
how to pronounce it.
I think so. I don't know.
I think
Go to
it's
Google.
Shusett.
Type it in.
I don't
and it'll
want
tell
to.
you.
That takes too
Well,
long.
you're gonna have to do apology next episode.
Takes too long. This movie stars Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Tom Skerritt as Captain Dallas, John Hurt as Kane, Veronica Cartwright as Lambert, Harry Dean Stanton as Brett, Ian Holm as Ash, and Yaphet Kotto as Parker. All right, so let's talk about our guests real quick. Today we have in the studio Adrian. Mr. Adrian, say hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Andrew, do you want to introduce Adrian?
This is my best bud, Adrian. He we have a lot in common. I mean, we like pop culture. We both love anime. Which is very handy. But
Tell me about your love of pop culture.
My love for pop culture really started with a huge fear. Whenever I was hanging out with my family and they had all the cousins sleep over, and then they decided to watch scary movie after scary movie, and the biggest one that freaked me out was Child's Play.
Oh, wow. Okay, that was like one of the first ones we watched.
It was literally our first horror movie that my dad, for some reason, of all people, agreed to show us.
He thought it was a kid's movie because it was called Child's Play. So he probably just thought it was kids raising hell while the parents were gone or something like that.
To this day, Chucky freaks me out.
Really?
But
do you watch
ever
the
since
show?
No, I have been waiting to.
The show.
No, it's on my to-do list.
We met Devon Sawa at Texas Frightmare Weekend. What was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And we met him, so we got to talk to him. And I know he's kind of like a side character in that, and he plays in that Chucky show. So
yeah, but ever since watching Chucky and then diving into Jeepers Creepers, Friday the 13th, it started out with horror, really.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Friday the 13th.
Okay.
I even got a Jason tattoo right here.
Oh yeah.
I
like that.
Matt is a bigger fan of Jason as well. He loves Mike Myers. Like, growing up though, when he was younger, it was all about Jason.
I think I had like 3 Halloweens in a row where I dressed up as Jason.
Yes, it was always Jason
movies.
And then he moved on to Mike Myers, and definitely Halloween is his go-to.
No, Scream is my number one of all time.
Right,
but when before that came out, it was
Slasher,
all about it was first of all it was Jason, then it was Michael Myers, and now it's like Scream is my top. Oh, I know yours is Nightmare on Elm Street. That's
always
yours, right?
Always.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is the ultimate.
Did you get into the Nightmare movies?
I did get into the Nightmare movie. Funny enough, Drew, you're my third best friend that I've had in my life that's preferred Freddy over Jason.
Oh yes.
It's a weird occurrence.
It's always Jason over Freddy for me.
He can tell you. I've been a Freddy fan from the get-go. Like from the 80s, 90s, or whatever. I've been Freddy. Like Robert Englund plays the ultimate villain in my opinion.
I did meet Robert Englund.
Dang it!
It was a more passing by.
Yeah.
I just stared at him and I was kind of in shock because I'm like, oh my goodness, that's Robert Englund.
Yeah.
So I did the whole. What is? I know that movie. What is it? Alfalfa. Help me out.
Little Rascals.
Little Rascals. Thank you. Yeah. So I did the treehouse little thing, and I just did that to him, and he had the Freddy Krueger glove, and he just went out.
That is awesome.
Back to me. I was like,
So basically, I just wanted to say a couple things before we kind of get into the movie proper. All the parts were written as unisex, so casting and director could decide how to cast each role, not based on sex. So we could have had a completely different cast, which is
why the names we went with,
Right, which is what I want to get to. The first time we're doing this kind of segment, we're going to call this Recast This Movie, okay? So, if you could pick one person in this role, in this movie to recast, to make the movie just as good or better, who would you pick and why?
I already know. Okay. Mine is Ian Holm. Replace him with Lance Henriksen. Bring him back from the second and put him on the first.
So you're saying that all androids should look like Bishop?
Well, we know that
Even
for a
have
fact,
different
actually,
names.
once we get through a few of the movies,
He is
we
Whalen.
find it out.
In AVP, it
Correct.
presents, who's the actor? Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, so it presents him as the actual Whalen guy.
Yeah, so that's why my theory, that's why my change up is probably one of the best ones and the right one, because technically that's the way it should have been.
Do you consider AVP canon?
Yes.
Okay. So anything that the studios put out, you're good with as far as being canon? I mean, I don't care either way.
I am
was just wondering
personally, but
Yeah, I'll go with anything that the studios put out as canon. I mean, unless it's complete and utter garbage.
well, because they're an older culture, and it does show that they have visited this world, But again, I think that didn't they change the DNA until for the actual alien creature until they got in contact with actual humans?
Well, it just depends.
The one we're looking at.
It depends on what the alien's incubating inside.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So for the first two movies, it's humans, so they look like they do. In part 3, for example, they do dogs.
Yeah.
And they're running around on all fours and everything. So
And
they
then
kinda take the
AVP2,
traits.
they have the Predalien.
That's right. Predalien.
Correct.
Predalien.
Predalien.
That took
Predalien.
about 5 days to come up with that name, I bet. What are we going to call it? Predalien. I don't know. Just call it. Put it in the script. I don't know.
But yeah.
Okay, yeah. I like that. It's probably even better than what I was going to say. Dang it. That was a good
in
one.
that
I like
AVP book that I read, there was flying aliens.
Oh, like the incubating in like bats or birds or
Yeah,
something?
there's like a giant bird kind of
But didn't
thing.
we have one that kind of flew? Wasn't it a queen that could fly or something?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. You're thinking of maybe ants.
Or bats or cats or
I'm pretty sure
rats.
all bats can fly. There's no queen bats. What are you talking about? All right, who would you recast and why?
I got to 100% agree with Drew on this
Drew?
one. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a solid choice, buddy.
Yeah.
Only
Thank
thing
you.
I was gonna say is probably Ripley for Linda Hamilton, but I mean just because those two are like the most badass
But I mean,
heroes of the 80s.
This was her
and
start.
70s.
We
and all
would
that
not
kind
have
of
known how much of a badass Sigourney Weaver was
Yeah.
without this.
she's on my list. We've had a list of the best heroines, and I'd have to actually go back to my list on the podcast just so that I don't say something like moving her up
Yeah,
and around.
I can't remember what
but
we
but
did. It
you know,
might
I
have
feel
been-
like these lists we do are can be fluid.
Yeah, and I think we did that on maybe one of our Terminator episodes,
Yeah.
or not Terminator, Ghostbuster episodes.
Okay.
Sigourney Weaver was in that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and retract that and just agree with you guys.
Okay.
Because I like groupthink, and that's the best thing in the world. This movie won a Best Visual Effects Oscar. I thought that was well deserved.
Oh, definitely.
For the time, definitely.
Yep. Whoever did the sound though should have been fired. I feel like just the sound was so awful in it. Like the whole you see her dubbing the talking to Parker and Brett and it's like you're gonna get paid whatever you were contracted for or whatever, and it's just like it's so off. Like I get that they did as good as they can. They probably didn't get a good.
That whole thing was
sync up.
very, very. I thought it was definitely something that was not needed in the movie.
What? Them talking about that?
Yes, always saying I need a bonus. I'm not going to work unless I get a bonus. As they're working, bonus. But
I feel like that kind of helps us relate to it because you have so many. Like look at Alien Resurrection with what's the dude that played Hellboy?
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. Okay, so you had those group of people, and they're all like attitudes. They're all like, typical
badasses.
90s, quipping and doing all this kind of stuff. Whereas this is like conversations stacked on top of each other, where like you hear a bunch of people talking over each other, but they're having different conversations, so it feels real. You have concerns of them just bitching about, are we getting paid for this? Are we getting paid for that?
Yeah.
I think that makes everything feel a little bit more real as far as not being Hollywoodized. Like
kind of bring you into the movie.
Yeah, and make you. I don't know.
For me, it was cringy.
It
I
felt to
just
me
didn't
like
laugh.
they were
I
like
was like-
real working people on a ship.
Yeah, I was cringy.
didn't
It was
like
cringy
it.
for me.
You didn't like to talk it over people.
No,
or you
I mean
didn't
I
like
understand
to bitching about their jobs.
You stated not bitching about the job, but more so like saying, we're getting bonus, we're getting paid equal, and I understand what they're trying to portray, but like say it once and move on.
Just hating on the blue collars of Hollywood.
Yeah. I'm a blue collar worker, so.
Well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. That's Ridley Scott. I was gonna say that's what James Cameron. James Cameron used to be like a trucker. Yeah. And everything before he started getting into movies and everything. But
yeah, and then he did Avatar and slammed it.
If you guys didn't know, we have an Avatar fan on the show, so I'm pretty excited to get into discussions about that. Apparently, you're dead to a certain person as well.
I am to his wife. Apparently, I am dead. And
you don't like the blue man.
No, and she rather loves those movies apparently. So
yeah, I think my quota is I have to mention Avatar at least 3 times on the show.
Gosh, just get it over with. Just say it 3 times.
No.
Okay.
No, it's
or we can start talking about the blue man group because it's the same thing.
Pretty much. I think they probably even play instruments.
Okay, but just to have a quick aside, I don't mind Avatar as much as you hate it.
Yeah.
But I don't get the hype around it. I get that there's special effects and everything, but I don't know.
It's all special effects.
No, I know. But I think that maybe you just have an issue with, like, I don't know, one of the messages in it or something.
No, it's not even the messaging. It's just too much. It's when you get to a movie, it's like CGI. Okay, I understand it, but it is just
you
all
watched Transformers,
CGI.
right?
Yes, but that felt a lot. That felt a
or
lot.
Any Michael Bay movie.
I know, but it's like watching a what kind of. Remember they had 2 different TVs.
What
like
about Ghostbusters? The 2016 Paul Feig Ghostbusters, where it's just like vomited CGI all over the screen. It's just terrible.
Yes.
Sorry, I was not a fan of that Ghostbusters movie. Did you like that movie, the Paul Feig one? I don't want to say the all-female one because that kind of
not particularly.
No, it's not good. It's not good. I don't know. Andrew, Alien or Aliens?
Aliens.
Adrian, Alien or Aliens?
They're a dead tie in mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I could understand that because they're also 2 completely different genres. They're both sci-fi, but one's action, one's horror. So it kind of just goes with your druthers.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, they're normal people, just blue-collar workers. Yeah. And then something crazy happens, and they just got to survive, and then she gets over her fear in the second movie and just becomes a total badass.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my favorite part of that movie in that sense, in the way of looking at it. She becomes the person that she was built up to, in the first one.
You're talking about Sarah Connor now.
Huh?
You're talking about Sarah Connor now.
What are you talking
about?
No. Okay. I was like, what do you mean? No, but
we've
that's
had this discussion about who's better, Sarah Connor versus Ripley, and I said definitely Sarah Connor, and you said definitely Ripley. Yeah. And I'm like, look, Ripley can like hold a gun if she needs to, she can fight and everything, but Sarah like trained to be a soldier.
But Ripley comes in with the smarts. Ripley's smart.
So is Sarah, and she's got that future knowledge.
She's tactically smart.
That's what I'm saying. You want to be tactic.
But in that future, in not the, I mean, I know we talk about future Terminator, they both go hand in hand. But in the Alien future, the way she's a badass fits in that world.
Okay, what would you?
She could not. They could not switch. Basically,
what would you be more terrified of coming after you? A Terminator or an alien or a xenomorph?
I think
depends
I would go
on location.
Off of location.
Depends on location because if you're on a ship. Being on with a Terminator, all you got to do is just really jet him out the outside because he's not going to be moving very fast. So there's ways to jet him out into space and then he's done for. Aliens can actually cling to the ship and move around even if they get out, right? I mean, essentially. But if you're on a planet like AVP, it would make more sense to be scared of a Terminator. You
wouldn't want to be on a ship with an alien too, because if you tried to kill it, it's going to melt through, and you're going to have.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's scarier to have an alien on a ship than it is to have a Terminator.
What do you think?
I would be more scared of the alien.
I think honestly, so too.
Because it's an animal. You don't know what really it's thinking. You don't know what it's doing.
Yeah, smell. It could probably see through walls. Maybe.
Yeah, but you shoot it with a gun, and you can actually kill it. Right,
if you want to kill yourself with all that acid leaking through all the hull.
Okay, you just sit further back. But with Terminator, we've seen him get shot several times with rocket launchers and grenades and everything else, and it still keeps going. Mm-hmm. And T-1000. I mean, that's a Terminator. That's one I'd be way more afraid.
We were talking about Terminator, how like it's really quite impossible what they did. And that I believe that T2 Judgment Day was like, you have the Doctor Strange thing where he looked into all the multiple futures to see how many they win. I think that Terminator 2 Judgment Day was the one time that they won against the T-1000, because I don't see how the T-1000 could lose any other time.
Yeah.
We also proposed in the Terminator episodes that the T-1000 is actually Skynet. Like, it uploaded itself into the T-1000 before it went back in time because it knew it was losing, because there are a lot... Well... You guys can listen to the episode. We kind of, it took a while to get back into that. But so starting this movie,
what would you say then? Because if you said the alien, and I say the Terminator,
I think I'm more terrified of the alien, like you said. The Terminator needs to walk around, and if we're talking about ship,
again, the location.
Yeah, so the Terminator needs to walk around and examine its environment, right. Whereas the alien, the xenomorph, might smell you from or hear you from three decks away or whatever. So
in complete darkness,
and it likes to hide. Yeah. Whereas the Terminator is not like stealthy; it's just like barreling through, finding you, execute you, and everything.
It's just all about not getting trapped.
Yeah. Because how could you get, the Terminator? There might be a door that Terminator cannot get through. You know what I mean? I mean, with the ships, the way they're built.
But that being said, if you use the technology of the ship to like
R2-D2 does
escape, and you actually escape and leave the thing, the Terminator can still come after you. It has the wherewithal to like turn off self-destructs and take this ship and come chase you. Whereas the alien's kind of like, well, I'm stuck in here now until somebody finds me.
Correct.
I don't know. That's a hard one to get through. I'm sorry I asked you. So I think the opening with the titles and the music and everything like that, I think it immediately gives the horror vibes, right? Creepy darkness of space, an established group of camaraderie victims that's like, it's almost like they just got to the cabin, in the woods, and they're just ripe to be picked off and everything. So I really like the opening of the movie. I felt like it really set up like, this is a very creepy horror, the darkness of space and just, all the horror elements.
Now that technology, it says what, 2048, right?
2040, was it 2048?
I think so.
Because I think the other one was 21 something. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to.
The reason I'm say that is because, do you think in 2048 we are going to be with that type of technology?
We better be.
For real. We're supposed to already have. We kind of do have flying cars, but
the whole problem with interstellar travel right now is it's impossible to move past, faster than the speed of light. So how do you
get on it, Elon?
Yeah, when you have 100-year lifespan for humans, how do you travel that far with like, hey, we made it?
Ask George Lucas, he knows.
2122 is when Alien takes place.
Okay, so
and that's then
more.
You just bought yourself some more time, Elon.
Yeah.
Use it wisely.
Yeah.
The commercial space tug Nostromo is returning to Earth with a 7-member crew in stasis. Captain Dallas, Executive Officer Kane, Warrant Officer Ripley, Navigator Lambert, Science Officer Nash, and Engineers Parker and Brett. Engineers, I thought they were like janitors or something like that, because they were all just kind of like, oh, we'll clean up this mess and, bitching about this.
Isn't that what engineers do on ships?
I mean, shots fired to engineers. Parker and Brett, the ship's computer mother detects a transmission from a nearby moon and awakens the crew. Following company policy to investigate any systematized transmission indicating intelligent origin, they land on the moon, and Dallas, Kane, Lambert head out to investigate the signal's origin.
Did you say that word right, by the way?
What's that?
Systematized?
Systematized. That's what it says here in the wiki. So blame the wiki author. It's systemized, but it says systematized. Look, tell me I'm wrong.
I don't doubt that.
Systematized.
I just feel like that's not a real word.
Probably not, but we don't care. We just read what's on the screen, right?
All words are made up.
This is true. Very good point.
As Thor would say. Yeah. That's a made-up word. All words are made-up words. The party discovers that it is from a derelict alien spaceship. Inside, they find the remains of a large alien with a hole in its torso. Mother later deciphers part of the transmission, which Ripley determines is actually a warning message.
Ash, that transmission. Mother's deciphered part of it. It doesn't look like an SOS.
Well, what is it then?
Well, it looks like a warning. I'm going to go out after them.
What's the point? I mean, but the time it takes to get there, they'll know if it's a warning or not, yes?
What do we think is the reason they came here, right? So obviously we find out towards the end of the movie that this was planned. So the Wayland Institute or whatever, they wanted them to bring back it was like a special mission and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
they're towing it back basically.
Well, but I mean,
ship.
I think that because I mean they got mineral ore on the
they
ship,
were
right?
towing like 20 million tons of that stuff.
Right. So now, was that the mission, or was that just the cover? Like, hey, send these out, and then we're gonna swing by this planet, which is what we really want to investigate, and then we're gonna wake up the crew if we see any kind of radio signal.
I think it's a secret mission. Yeah, the cover.
Yeah. Because you could tell with what's this character's name? With Ash, right? He was like, "Oh well, we have to respond to this stuff." He was in agreement.
And even when they were eating, before they found out about it, there's right when they woke up, they're eating. It's kind of like that, and Ash is like, "Hey, Dallas, Mother wants to talk to you." It's like he really wants him to get this message, like, "Hey, come on, let's get this guy started."
And you don't see the order they're woken up either, because Ash is kind of like a medical officer or something, kind of like Lance
I don't even know if
Henriksen.
you see him wake up.
You see one of them wake up, and then whenever he's finally leaving the room, the rest of them start waking up, which I found kind of weird.
That was Kane.
Yes,
yeah, I believe it was.
But and he's the captain,
second
basically,
officer.
or second officer. Oh yeah, because Dallas is the first.
Dallas is the officer.
But
captain.
That's why I think that it was a pre-planned thing, because Ash probably never went to sleep. I mean, he doesn't have to technically, right?
I think he was in the pod.
So then, if we try to link this to Prometheus and Covenant, would we say that sometime in the future, David maybe sends a message to Earth and says, "Hey, this is David from this mission. I have a lethal, perfect organism type of thing," and Wayland's like, "Hey, we don't want anybody to know about this. Let's send this, and let's send a science officer or something." Because I'm just trying to wrap my head around, okay, they stumbled upon it, but then you find in the end that they don't. So what actually set up? So was the hauling, the minerals and stuff, that was the cover mission for what they really need to bring back. So.
Or could it be that they've always had that secret mission on every ship they send out?
Maybe. But then why would they... Yeah, to investigate
because why would they send?
planets?
Yeah, why would they send? It's kind of like,
why would they only send one?
Yeah, and then it's like, why send these rich these scientists and these important people when you can send a hauling crew that just all they do is just bring back?
They're all expendable.
They're towmen or women or whatever. You know what I mean? It's why not send them to bring it back rather than and then throw an android in there that can be the last man standing or last thing standing. That way it can just bring it back in. Why would you not do what they obviously did?
If we're adding in the newer movies, the Prometheus and the other one, I would say that I think that David would send a message just so we would bring those, like something happened to him where he couldn't get back to Earth, because I think he wanted to kill all the humans too after a point, right?
Yeah, but you could separate these movies as being like kind of an alternate dimension kind of thing.
We talk about all these, or we could just say, let's just concentrate on the first three,
correct.
and the other stuff is going to come as it goes. So, I talked about the sound earlier. A lot of the scenes are great, but some are so terrible by comparison. It made me feel like it was either rushed at the end, or maybe the dubbing was like a nepotism hire or something that he just didn't do a very good job. But like, does that bother you when you see like kind of the mouth not syncing up, or say when Parker and Lambert were being killed, like there was really no sound. It was kind of like, but it was just the music was so loud you couldn't hear the screaming.
It's the quietness of space.
I think that's kind of what they went for. The only time the sound not dubbing up really affected me was from a video game, Final Fantasy X.
Oh.
The infamous laugh.
Never heard of that, but I'm sure we have some fans that have heard of that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Everybody knows of the infamous laugh.
It's just off, right?
It's so bad. It is so bad.
I just think with this, some of the stuff, it was kind of weird too, like the setting of it, like that one room with all the lights, all like the little light bulbs all the way in the room. It's like,
the one with the chains?
I think it was towards the beginning. No. It's where he was talking to Mother.
Yeah.
Oh,
that room.
That place.
It's so random. Like, why so many light bulbs?
That
would
so
freak
cool.
me
That's
out.
another thing I liked about it, is that you have movies that do the future that's very dated.
Okay.
And I love most sci-fi movies that make sure that it's like transcendental. You know, it transcends any kind of time period. You know, you can always. And another thing that Henry had mentioned when we were watching, he's like, why are these people always listening to classical music? Because if you remember in the Prometheus, I think they were listening to classical music as well. But I told him, I was like, you know, we're still listening to classical music today, and that was like from the 1500s and 1600s and stuff like that. So that's another thing that transcends time, is that music. So I just like that they chose that. They didn't choose to do some kind of weird music, from futuristic music, and that the aesthetics of it are something that to this day you would believe, that's in the future. That looks like a shitty cargo. Like, it's definitely not Star Trek where everything's all clean and everything's perfect and looks nice. It's more like Star Wars, where
it's a
like
crew of
pieced together.
6.
Crew of 6 or 7.
7?
I think it's 7.
There's 7,
My
but
bad.
I mean, if you don't want to consider Ash one of the
Yeah, that's true.
humans.
Crew of
6.5.
6 and a traitor. Crew of 6 and a traitor.
So one thing I like with the audio, you can tell with movies that you watch, especially back in the 80s and 90s in the pop culture field, a lot of the same directors had a lot of the same types of sounds that guns make and sounds that different machines make.
Remember the
and
ones in
things that make.
Batman where it's like,
Yeah.
it's like the sound echo.
Like ricocheting, you know, but no, with this one you can always tell, like, the gunfire, you know, the rapid gunfire. It's
You could have guns on this one?
No.
No, that's part 2.
But you know what I'm saying, like the
You're
James
getting ahead
Cameron,
of yourself, Drew.
Don't get ahead.
But you get different, like, sounds that, like, door hatches make and things like that. But then you see Terminator, it's kind of the same thing where, you know, James Cameron uses that type of, you know, rapid gunfire, and you know, same thing with George Lucas. You know, he uses a lot of his noises, like his androids and his robots.
Well,
make
he's famous for using the Wilhelm scream too.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yes, and you always know where that's from. But that's what I love about kind of movies like this. You can hear sounds and stuff, and you, like, I could not even be watching the movie, and I could hear like a laser shot, and I would know that's from Star Wars. You know, or gunfire, where I'd be like, okay, it's either from Aliens or it's from Terminator. You know, it's one or the other. But it's
James Cameron used the same gunfire noises in Terminator and Avatar.
Correct.
Yeah,
it's always in the future sense too.
And it's that automatic gunfire too.
Because guns like that, you know, they do sound like that to a point, but
That's twice I brought it up, by the way.
So, did you guys know that, you know, Sigourney Weaver is a very anti-gun type of person?
Oh,
everything.
and you can kind of see it in some of the movies she's in.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
the way she holds it, it's like uncomfortable.
Yeah, she had a big problem with in the second movie because she had to use a gun, and then actually she had to use a very big gun and everything. But that's why she wanted like a flamethrower on it. Different things.
Go big or go home.
Bullets. Yeah, exactly. So,
but now, like I said, she's listed as one of the greatest heroines in any movie, you know, ever, and yet she's just like anti-gun. But then you see a lot of movies.
Says, what is the greatest heroine in all of movies? Most likely you're going to get a Sarah Connor, a Ripley, you know, different things like that.
And we're not saying just the characters are just as well as the actresses, you know, because they can do different. Like well. Linda Hamilton can actually do, you know, she can do Sarah Connor, but she can also do these badass roles beyond Sarah Connor.
You know what makes it different? It's just that she's not saying, and I'm a woman too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My goodness.
It's like it's just a normal person doing shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's a badass.
But
woman,
yet she does have you know, sensitivity as well. You know what I mean? Like towards her son in the second one. In the first one,
her daughter.
You know, she didn't really
daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Newt.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Linda Hamilton here.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Ripley.
Yeah.
I see. We're just changing movies again.
Yeah. But no, like Linda Hamilton, you know, with those kind of roles, like she can show the sensitivity, and then Ripley, you know, in the second one with the girl.
Well, we talked about that, like, right in the first Terminator movie, she was just like, it was this scared, terrified, just like, I can't do anything person. But she knew how to do a field dressing, and he's like, man, that's pretty good. And she's like, it's my first one. So she had certain instincts that she kind of built on later. But she was a Bambi in the first one. And she was a complete badass in the second one. And then you watch, like,
still had a little bit of sensitivity when it especially came to John.
You watched Dante's Peak, which is like only like a couple years after Terminator 2 came out, and she's back to kind of being that kind of doe-eyed person. Yeah. She's got a very good range with that.
She does. And so does Sigourney Weaver, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? She's very, like a Ghostbuster, she's very kind of, you know, like weaker, you know what I mean? And
she's that smart kind of girl.
Yeah. But then she has her moments, like when she's possessed or whatever in Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? She could play both sides of it, just like Linda Hamilton. I think that's probably why they're always on that list too. You know, not just because they can play the badass role.
Such great actresses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When they walked into the alien ship, the doorways, did you guys notice the shape of the doorways, or was that just me?
I guess you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let it drop then. So
Why? What was it shaped like?
I'm not even gonna say. You can go back and look at it. I just didn't know. Like, hey, are we gonna talk about this? That was just me. Okay, that was just me. My bad.
He's gonna look it up.
I'm gonna Google alien door.
So I think
Doorways.
Alien doorways.
DOOR.
Do you remember what music video was being shot next to the soundstage that they did where they had the lasers? I can't remember what it was, but some band, it was like Pink Floyd or something
The
like
Who.
that.
It was The Who.
Was it The Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing something in the stage next door, the studio next door,
And
they let him borrow
They
it.
let them borrow the little
Lights.
lasers and everything, which created, and they had the little smoke there, and they're like, yeah, it kind of goes off every time you put your hand there. I thought that was pretty cool, kind of like just on the fly filmmaking, like, hey, that would actually look like really cool if we could fill up some fog here.
And now pretty much like the Aliens movies are more popular than the Who. You know what I mean? And it's so funny that they borrowed from the Who because they probably couldn't afford the lights, whatever. But now, like, more people probably know the Aliens movie than they know the band.
we
Who.
borrow your lasers?
Yeah.
I'm just listening to the Who. Who?
Yeah.
Can you see anything? I don't know, a cave. A cave of some sort, but I don't know, but it's like the goddamn tropics in here. What the hell is this? This is completely enclosed, and it's full of leathery objects like eggs or something. There's a layer of mist just covering the eggs that reacts when broken. Okay, I just slipped. Wait a minute, there's movement. It seems to have life. Organic life.
When Kane discovers a chamber containing hundreds of large eggs, he touches one, a creature springs out, penetrates his helmet, and attaches itself to his face. Dallas and Lambert carry the unconscious Kane back to the Nostromo as the senior officer Ripley refuses to let them aboard, citing quarantine regulations, but Ash overrides her decision and lets them inside.
Therefore, smarter. She is shown that she is smarter than everybody.
Yeah, she was trying to follow protocol.
Yeah, it's one of the notes I had. Ripley's the only one that does what's right to keep them out. But it's funny because they present her as the bad guy for doing that, and Ash as the good guy. And so there's kind of a cool little switch there. Yeah. And the same thing within the second movie. You got the Paul Rudd, who's presented as a genuinely nice guy. And you got the who's the officer? The major something. Whoever the officer was that had only done like 2 drops or whatever.
Yeah.
One in simulation. So that dude, they presented him as a jerk that didn't know what he was doing because he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, it's a total shift at the end.
It's a total shift. Suddenly we hate Burke. And this officer is like, hey, he's actually backing everybody up now. And hey, he actually stuck by with Vasquez at the end, you know, and wouldn't let her die alone.
But yet the funny thing
or maybe
is,
she did that, but still.
We learn that because Sigourney Weaver makes all the right decisions, she is the only one left, her and her cat, you know, kind of situation. You know, they're
follow protocol and you will survive.
Yes, exactly. The rules are there for a reason.
Oh my goodness.
The crew returns to space, and Ash attempts to remove the creature from Kane's face, but stops when he discovers that it's extremely corrosive acidic blood, and it could hurt Kane and potentially damage the ship's hull. It eventually detaches itself and is found dead. Kane awakens with some memory loss, but otherwise seems fine. He even said he remembers a dream about smothering, but he didn't remember going to the ship or doing any of that. So I don't know if there's some kind of a memory loss thing that goes with being face sucked, but...
and impregnated.
Maybe
basically.
it's part of it because you're not supposed that way. You don't know that something's in you, and you can't try to remove it.
I'm sure
Maybe
it's an instinctual thing, or
like David
thing,
was like 18 steps ahead of
prep me
everybody
for
else.
surgery right now.
Yeah,
like she did in the Prometheus movie. Like she got that out pretty quickly.
But you know, it's again. I don't think that Ash was trying to take it off of him. in the long run. I think Ash knew exactly what was happening.
Well, he
from the
didn't want
get-go.
to, but like, but Dallas
Yeah.
was like, "Get this off of him." He goes,
Yeah.
"Okay, but it could kill Kane," and he goes, "I'm willing to take that chance." And he's
Secret
like,
mission.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
like, "You're gonna take the responsibility." Like he really did not want to take it off, but
Yeah.
And
he's
that
gotta
whole
listen.
the whole alien corrosive blood was kind of based on a writer's block. They didn't know how to present this alien as unkillable.
or hard to kill.
Yeah, hard to kill because everybody's like, well, just get a gun, shoot it.
Yeah.
And so somebody came up with his blood's actually acidic and
If
it'll
you do that,
kill
we're all
everybody.
getting sucked out.
Yeah, and you would
I love the whole every aspect about it. The life cycle, the regeneration. The queen lays the eggs turn.
That's
into
why they
face
consider-
huggers. Fucking
yeah.
face huggers go there. It incubates, and then within 10 minutes, it's a full grown.
that's why it's a perfect creature. That's why they kept calling it a perfect creature, because it was just not perfect in a good way. I mean, perfect in a bad way that they
Perfect
needed,
killing
you know?
machine.
But we need to talk about the life cycle too, which we will at the end.
Right.
During a final crew meal before returning to stasis, he suddenly chokes and convulses. Small alien creature bursts from Kane's chest, killing him, and escapes into the ship. This is that Spaceball scene, I think.
Yeah, we got to talk about the chest buster scene.
So definitely going to pause here so we could talk about it. Infamously, none of the other actors knew that the chest burster was about to happen. Director
That's
wanted to get
kind
ahead
of correct.
Like they knew it was going to happen, but they didn't know it was going to be so much.
They didn't know that it was going to be real blood and guts, actually.
Was it like pig stuff or?
I don't remember what animal it actually was, but it was animal intestines and genuine blood. I think it was animal blood.
Yeah, from what I hear, I thought they said it was going to be like a cut, and then they were going to do it and everything. But I mean, it was just a huge surprise to everybody. You know, the blood splattered on what's.
They did not. Yeah, they didn't know what all it was gonna like how badly it was gonna splatter or anything like that. When it got on Veronica Cartwright, Cartwright. Yeah, Lambert, when it got on her face, she didn't know. It got in her mouth. There's even a small spot where she slipped on the blood because there was so much.
And she was like angry about it.
Oh, yeah,
from
she
what
was
I remember,
pissed.
she was
Yeah.
very angry. I think there was maybe one or two others, but I remember hearing that she was very upset that happened, not just because of the reaction, but because she got it in her mouth and it was dangerous.
Yeah, Yaphet Kotto, Parker. Yeah, when he went home after that filming, after that shoot, he locked himself into a room and didn't talk to his wife for several hours because he was so traumatized by that whole scene.
Jeez.
Wow. And now that's the stuff that you go on X and you just see people executing each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like
For
that
real.
going on nowadays. It's nuts, man.
You know, and it's that alien bursting out of the chest has been used in so much pop culture, though.
Oh
You know,
yeah, it's classic. It was listed in 2004 as one of the second. I think it was like the second most scariest scene in movie history.
Do you think that that's considered the scariest scene then of this movie, or Dallas in the tunnels and the?
Oh yeah, those are tied in my
Because that
my
one
head.
was a huge one. I've seen YouTube videos talk about that scare in particular right there, because you got the beep 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 beep.
Well,
You try to figure it
and
out.
I like to classify a lot of like 80s movies and 90s movies in the sense that, you know, how they film dark scenes.
Dark,
you know what I mean?
You always go dark.
Dark. But dark scenes, like, you know, in this movie,
Like Game of Thrones.
yeah,
Oh
where you
my
can't
gosh.
see anything.
Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I watched a good chunk of it.
That last that one, what is it called? The Long Night or whatever. I get it's called The Long Night.
I don't think he's that caught up, so let's be careful.
Oh,
Well,
It's
I
in the
also
last
stopped
season.
watching it like 5 years ago. So
probably a good call. I used to tell people all the time, you have to watch this show. It's amazing. It's epic. It's
And then it
it's
died off.
risque and everything.
The last two seasons.
The last two says it just wasn't planned. It was very rushed. It felt like it was rushed. The creators, this is the story. I don't know if it's true, but I'm just putting it out there. The creators apparently got approved to do their own little Star Wars trilogy. You know, they're getting all the hot people back there to direct their own Star Wars project. And they really wanted to do that, so it's time to wrap this show up, type of thing. And instead of the 10 that we've been getting every season, and HBO said we were good for another couple seasons, a full-on 10 episode. We were willing to pay for it, but the writers were like, we need to wrap this up. I don't know if it's because they got beyond George's writing, and so they kind of suffered a bit, and they're like, we should probably wrap this up kind of quickly because our writing isn't as good. But it's just weird because I mean now George R.R. Martin's not finishing his books. And I think it's because he probably had that same ending. And there's been so much backlash. He's like, maybe I should change the ending. Yeah.
The audience is not kind to me.
They don't like that. But, I mean, he would have had a lot more development. My issue was that these people acted a certain way, and I felt like we were missing a whole season that turned them into that.
But, like, going back to my original point.
Sorry.
Anyways, but, you know, I kind of gauge a lot of these movies that we watch, you know, 80s, 90s movies, where it's like, you know, the dark scenes that you can't really see what's going on. This was done so well because the creature was black and shiny.
Yeah.
So what you got to see in this is reflection
Except
of its
for
skin.
its first kill. When it first killed Brett, it was still white. It was still kind of, because it was shedding and everything. But by the time it got to where we're actually seeing Parker and Lambert get
Correct.
It's just like
full
this,
on black,
completely black and
I think that's what makes it so terrifying.
You know, you could actually see the alien in that scene right before he gets killed, and they do
In the shadow?
in the shadow before it pans over.
So it looks at Parker, and then it looks at Lambert, and she's doing something. She keeps looking back, and she's in that circle of light, and then you kind of see him walk in.
Oh, there's
Are you talking about that?
There's that time, and then there's also before he kills. Oh my goodness, what is his name? Brett. Whenever it pans over in that room with the chains
with
and
him
the water,
hanging in the chains.
yeah, and he was hanging in the
Yeah,
chains.
was that on the extended cut, or was that the trailer? Or I mean, the theater released version, theatrical release. That's what I'm looking. Because there is an extended version. Because I watched the theatrical on this one.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the extended Aliens, but I watched just the theatrical Alien. But I know there is a there's a part where Brett and Dallas had been like pasted against the wall, you know, like they do.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that happened until the second movie because of the eggs and everything. But apparently
there's a deleted scene where she finds a nest,
or maybe it was the nest or whatever. But so I don't know how that all went and everything. But
I think and another terrifying thing with these creatures too is I think that it's like what do they do with the bodies? I mean, do they just kill them? Like you don't really ever see them eat them.
Parker and Lambert were there. They were like in pieces.
They were dead, but
you don't really ever see them eat them. I mean, they got the little head.
They got to eat something.
Yeah. So, but
it's a tiny mouth. I'm gonna eat what I can.
That's another thing is like you need energy to grow, right? You cannot, this law of thermodynamics and stuff. So how is that little alien before he even killed anybody get so big?
Correct.
Unless in the incubation he has stored up so much energy that
but you don't ever see like one of the aliens in any of the movies just munching down on a guy. I mean, you see him massacring him and killing him, but you don't ever see him like eating
tongue right through the head.
He's like, I'm going to take this arm and go back to my nest for a little bit.
I mean, I understand maybe the queen, maybe they provide for the queen. Maybe they have a short lifespan where it's like the creatures actually have a short lifespan and their job is like bees to provide, food and stuff for the queen and whatnot.
I think this was intended to be just like your classic killing machine.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm thinking.
Jason or something. Mindless, no reason, not for food. It's just, I'm going to kill you because that's what I was created for.
Like the Predator in that sense, he kills for sport. It's not killing for sustenance or nothing like that. It doesn't ever show them eating, humans or anything. But, this is why I think that in the long run, an alien probably could beat the Predator. Just for the simple fact that it is just a soul-killing machine. Like, it just wants to murder and massacre.
Maybe. The Predator, I think if it's one-on-one, I think the Predator's got it. It's got the skills and everything.
He's got the skills. He's got the weapons.
That's true. Now, if it's a Predator that's never dealt with an alien, that would probably give Alien maybe an edge. But if they knew about him, then I think
and again, location. If you're on a ship, guaranteed that alien's probably going to handle it better than
that again.
Than the forest.
Another 20-minute conversation.
Okay,
no, you're good. I like that the horror element persists. The horror element persists as
new made-up word.
It's more about your imagination than showing the alien, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like the first one, they had it come up, and then Brett, whether that scene is in the extended one or not, you got the alien hanging from the chains, and then you got Brett's reaction, but you don't really see it.
No, you just do a quick little. There's this face. There's this creepy little mouth.
Yep, and then in Dallas, it's just a beeping on a machine and everything.
Right.
You don't see anything until the last, which I know it's supposed to be scary, but sometimes it just makes me laugh where it's just like,
I was watching that movie that Jonah had fallen in love with the alien universe because he was on YouTube and he saw somebody modded Minecraft, and they just did a bunch of alien stuff.
Oh wow!
So all the animals were aliens, and so
if they did that on Fortnite, Henry would love it.
Oh, it was really cool. So Jonah at one point knew more about Alien than I did. I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. So I went deeper into the lore and I started reading a couple books about it, and there's a lot of info out there.
I need to get more books.
Oh man, yeah.
Because we go, all right, let's stay away from books. We're a movie podcast, but we also get into a lot of movies that have either books or come from books.
Yeah,
like Star Wars or. I don't know, different things like that. Well, what are some of the books that we've done that were books first and then got turned into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. We were almost done with all the Harry Potter.
Yeah, Batman technically. Yeah.
Technically.
I like words. I just want to point out I like words as well. Okay.
You like words?
Yeah, I like words.
What do you mean?
I like reading words too.
You like reading words?
Yes. I like
Sometimes
good words.
I like reading it and everything.
Yes.
How do the aliens grow full size in half an hour? I think we already kind of talked that to death. I love the part of Dallas going into the vents. There's like this bass sound.
Yeah.
There's like, just kind of like if you remember Split, they had this ominous kind of bass sound that would be in the background every once in a while, especially when the titles were going. It was exactly like it was in here, and it was kind of very ominous.
Yeah.
I was like, it's one of my favorite parts is when Dallas goes.
You can't have alien movies or aliens, the creature aliens, without air vents. I mean, those things go together. Aliens and air vents. We have been proven on every single movie.
In the next one.
In the next one, but in every single aliens movies, it's like it's like their sidekick. You know, it's like the alien sidekick is the air vents. You know what I mean? Because that's how they travel. That's where they live. That's where they get hidden from. You know, in the second one, obviously. Yeah. But it's like air vents and aliens just go together.
Yeah. So after ejecting Kane's body out of an airlock, the crew attempts to locate the creature with tracking devices and kill it.
I've taken care of that. I've designed this tracking device. You just set it to search for a moving object. So, hasn't got much of a range, but when you get within a certain distance, it'll start to give off a signal.
What's it key on?
Micro changes in air density.
Give me a demo.
Again?
Gotcha. 2 teams. Ash, Lambert, and I. Ripley, you take Parker and Brett. Now, anyone see this thing or catch it in the net that Parker is holding in his lap? Parker, I don't want any heroics out of you, all right? Catch it, put it in the airlock, get rid of it.
Dallas is no longer wanting to hang on to this thing anymore. It's like, we need to get this the hell out of it.
Shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Exactly. Brett follows the crew's pet cat, Jonas, into a landing leg compartment.
I thought it was Charlie.
Charlie?
Jonesy.
Jonesy, that's right.
Jonesy.
That's right.
Yeah,
Look,
Jones.
Just because your kid's name, stop trying to call everybody Charlie just because your new baby's name is Charlie. Brett follows the crew's pet in there and gets killed, or he gets disappeared in some versions. You assume that he's dead, but in the special edition, I guess he's maybe still alive. Or
Who's this again?
Brett. He's one of the engineers, the first one to get.
Yeah, whenever he was getting rained on by some random water that nobody could ever explain.
Yeah, why is there water in the landing gear? Like, I don't know.
It's just raining in there, and he just goes and takes off his hat, just like, oh, the rain.
So this is our habitat where we're trying to create a rainforest right by the landing gear for some reason. The crew determines the creature must be in their air ducts. Dallas enters the ducts with the flamethrower, intending to force the monster into an airlock, but it ambushes and seemingly kills him.
Yeah, let's take a flamethrower in a very small area in space, a one-way each way, basically.
Where metal's a good conductor of heat that you're sitting in.
And let's just take a flamethrower in there and try to get something that could probably get to you in 1.2 seconds, even if it's a mile away. Makes total sense.
Totally.
Yes.
That's what I'm for.
Yeah. Give me. I mean, heck, go throw a rocket launcher in there. You might as well.
But
you know what I mean?
You got to think that they're limited by whatever. I don't know what apparently they use flamethrowers for mining, but I don't even know how that process works.
I guess that makes sense.
I think there was a one spot where they talked about, hey, can you make a weapon? And he's like, well, give me about 30 seconds and I can make you a flamethrower.
What movie was that?
That was Alien.
Was it Alien?
Yeah, I think they mentioned it really quickly.
I was going to say, because I've heard that before. I remember hearing that, but I guess it was this movie that I heard
Space MacGyver.
Space MacGyver. That's Anakin. Anakin's a Space MacGyver.
But you know, you would think, again, you would have more guns in this world, you know. I mean, because even if they sent...
That's the answer for everything, isn't it, Andrew? Just throw some guns
I'm saying if the company was going to send a ship to go basically pick up this alien pretty much and not caring about what happens... I mean, there is a point of they could send it to get these aliens, and these aliens just totally destroy the ship and blow up.
Yeah.
So they have to have some sort of way. You would think when they send them out, they would send them with some sort of weapons and stuff like that to handle it.
Because they're expendable. It doesn't matter.
Right. But that also means that the aliens could mess something up and could kill it.
All they're worried about is making sure that the computer's destination is set to Earth and that you have it on board.
Yeah, good point.
Whatever happens when that is, cool. We'll deal with it when it gets here. But we want that alien to be brought back here, or whatever it is.
The ship is coming. The crew hasn't responded. Get prepared.
I've seen this movie before,
many times before.
Accessing Mother, Ripley discovers the company has secretly ordered Ash to return with the. This is.
Oh my goodness, that was The Lost World as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they were bringing the T-Rex over, and
that's right.
They're like, the ship is coming. Yeah, the crew is not responding.
I was like, where have we seen this before? Yep, that was, and that's about 6 other movies probably too, for The Lost World. He orders it to bring Ash back for study. Consider the crew expendable, and she confronts Ash, which that always makes me jump every once in a while. Like when she sits back and he's just sitting there, I'm like, oh god, I forgot he was coming. But he's just in there, right?
Yeah.
And like he just kind of snuck in, and even Henry was like that door makes a really loud noise when it opens. How did she know that he was not coming in? I'm like, I don't know.
All hobbits are quiet.
Either that or we call that the Rachel moment or something. We needed a Rachel moment. We
do have Rachel moments every
I've
episode,
heard a couple of y'all's Rachel moments.
We try to do one for every movie we talk about. There's usually always, and it's just, and for those viewers that don't know those listeners that don't know what the Rachel moment is, it's Andrew's wife, Rachel, who questions every little plot hole that she can get her hands on, even if it's not that big a deal. And so we try to find the big Rachel moment.
She did give me the Rachel moment for this one, but I totally spaced it.
Well, that's fine.
She does it all the time.
The point of this podcast is for us to explain or explore the Rachel moments to see if we can figure it out. And we usually do.
Yeah.
But then there's usually like 1 or 2 little outliers where like, I can't explain that. That's the Rachel moment right there.
Yep.
So, remaining crew decides to self-destruct the Nostromo and escape in the shuttle. However, Parker and Lambert are ambushed and killed by the creature while gathering supplies. Awesome scene. Weird audio, but awesome scene. Ripley initiates the self-destruct sequence, but finds the alien blocking her path to the shuttle. She retreats, attempts unsuccessfully to abort the self-destruction, which is one of my favorite lines. It's like, I've stopped it, and then it's like the countdown, and she's like, you bitch!
Override detonation procedure has now expired.
Mother! I've turned the cooling unit back on! Mother!
Ship will automatically destruct in T-minus 5 minutes.
You bitch!
I love that.
Liar.
So she flees back to the shuttle.
She basically didn't know what she was doing.
Dude, when she sat that cat down, I forget every time that I'm like, does she have to go back for the cat? And it's like she sat the cat down, and I don't understand why the alien didn't try to eat it, because it's a life form. Like, why wouldn't it just try to? It kills everything else. Like, does it have something against?
I'm going to keep you alive for the snack.
Yeah, or say maybe it's a later snack, because what I want to talk about later, and we're getting to it anyways, might as well bring it up, is why did the alien look so lethargic or slow or injured or something when it was hiding in that?
Well, because it's brand spanking new, right? And it just immediately was.
You think it's full?
No, I just think it's just worn out. I mean, it barely is born like
stuffed.
Day 2 cardio.
Like 3 hours later, earlier, and now it's like still brand new.
So there is
how's it build the energy?
Well, there is an explanation for it, but it contradicts James Cameron. So I guess, like we do like to do on our podcast, we find things like this. Let's try to find an in-universe way to explain it. The way it was explained before is that it was ending its life cycle. So it was so fast, and that's why it grew so fast. It can kill, but then it was almost dead because it's at the end of its life cycle.
Right.
Now, I've also heard that it's tired from doing all the eating and everything. I think that was more of a joke. But I guess Ridley Scott and them were saying that really the reason is because it was ending its life cycle. Now, in Terminator, in Aliens with James Cameron, that place has been wrecked for a few weeks before the Marines get there, and those aliens are still around. Now, there's the humans have all been killed except for the one, but I mean, like, are we assuming that they got there right when they killed the last human? That's why there's so many and they haven't died off yet, or are we just assuming that these just have a longer life?
Well, you know, the queen, she creates the eggs, right? And then the eggs go from that cycle, then they go to the humans, and then they kill. But it doesn't mean that they don't drag certain humans back. Like, we know that they do that.
Sure.
And we find out in the second one. So how do we know that this,
But why are they all at the end of their life cycles if most of the people there have been killed? At least
how do we know how many people are actually there, and how do we know that some of these humans weren't?
So do you think that they have the shorter? Do you think they have the shorter life cycle like was originally intended? Then
I could see that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is there anything in the books that talk about that, like their life cycle once they become a fully grown xenomorph or anything?
I have not gone that deep into it.
I didn't know if there was anything on there. It was just. I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing that, you know, I always thought about that. Like, why is he just chilling? Like, he knows that she's there. But, like, even when she runs in the closet and closes the door, he's still just like he's like, I'm so tired.
Or that, you know, maybe they were just trying to make it look more creepier, you know, like moving it slower possibly.
I guess.
All predators have to sleep, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Maybe, yeah, that's true. I don't know. It doesn't match like the horror movie thing, like, you know, where you see it, then it comes alive again, it comes after you, but it still just stayed slow until she shot it.
It's kind of more of a sci-fi horror thing, you know. There's always, with sci-fi, there's always an explanation. With horror movies, sometimes there's not an explanation. You know, sometimes it's up to the watcher to come up with their own theory, you know, where with the sci-fi type horror movies, I think that they always have more of a scientific explanation for everything.
That makes sense. Sense.
And with the Alien movie, man, they really just dove into it. It's a creature they know nothing about. They don't know why it's attacking them. They don't know anything. And it's just a 100% killing machine.
I mean, I think Ash knew. I think the company knew.
Well, of course, yeah.
You know?
Well, I think they knew there was something. They just didn't know what it was, unless we go to the whole David sent them information about it.
That's kind of where I'm getting on it.
But if they didn't, then it's just, hey, we're sending these missions out with these secret androids that are going to make sure that we bring back any life.
Right.
Or they got some kind of a message, and just that one instance, hey, let's send these people, and on the way back we can check out what it is. Who knows? But I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. I came to a complete halt on that thought real quick. Train wreck, you know, trains left the station, that's the train.
It's one of those we sit in silence for about 20 minutes.
I'm just trying to think about it. Yeah, I don't think so. As Ripley prepares for stasis, she discovers that the alien is on board. Damn it. Just destroyed a huge, what is it, like 2 or 3 football fields long
I think they said it was like 1.5 miles.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
Dang. And then she's stuck in this little thing with the alien. Having stowed away in its narrow compartment, she dons a spacesuit and flushes the creature out. It approaches Ripley, but before it can kill her, she opens an airlock. Alien manages to hang on. Ripley fires a grappling hook gun to push it out, and then fires the engine. But she closes the door before the gun goes out, and that pissed me off. Like, why didn't you let the gun go out first? Because then it kind of tethered the alien to the spacecraft. So I don't know why that happened, but after recording her final log entry, she places Jones. I'm getting Jonas.
Jonesies.
Yeah, I'm getting. She places Jones and herself into stasis for the trip back to Earth.
Ooh, real quick, I have the dimensions of the Nostromo.
Okay, well, let's hear how big it is.
It's 243.8 meters long, 164.6 meters wide, and 72.5 meters high.
Gosh, man, I wish America did the metric system.
Yeah,
I know. I'm about to Google
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, all our listeners in Europe, they know exactly what that means, and I'm like, well, how many miles is that? How many inches? Yards? Feet? People?
Yeah, I have no clue.
All right, dimensions of the Nostromo in English.
In English.
In proper English. That's metric system stuff. Also, the switches with the dummy head were crazy bad. I just want to say that. Like, not too bad for the time. Like, okay, but I mean, you look back at it now, you're just like, ooh, that's a little rough.
Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
1,095 feet long, 705 feet wide, and 320 feet high.
It seems, I mean, those
seems
measurements.
like it's bigger.
It seems like it's
right?
a lot bigger than those measurements.
Yeah,
We're gonna stick to the meters.
Yeah,
that makes
it sound better.
It does. Because I know the average human is 1 meter.
Yeah.
So,
But talking about all the switches in the cockpit, they were actually wired together to where if somebody pushed one button, it would light up at different people's stations. And so that created kind of a working class vibe where they were all doing something.
Camaraderie, make them work as a team and everything, like as a piloting the ship and stuff. That's pretty cool. I'm sure as an actor, that's so helpful. If a director makes sure, like, hey, when you do this, it's actually going to do some stuff. Then you could sit there with your people and say, hey, let's spend 20 minutes and like rehearse this, what we're actually going to do.
Well, like The Office, they had internet on on those computers there for like what, the first
like
3 seasons or something.
Email.
Yeah, so they're able to check their real email, scroll through the internet or whatever. But they were able to do all that because it was like they had actual internet on them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
That's awesome. Yeah,
that definitely helps the actor.
Yeah,
I would think.
Well, whenever this movie came out, I guess they would probably just be playing asteroids or something.
or social media.
What is that first game?
Pong.
Yeah.
I was gonna say ping pong.
Ping pong.
Ping pong.
Pong.
All right, we're gonna go through our award ceremony.
Okay.
The thing is this: we're each gonna award who we think best describes this, and if we nominate the same, then they get the award. Okay. If not, cool. Then they're a nominee. All right. So best performance of the movie. I think this one might kind of be unanimous, maybe, but maybe not. Because Andrew, you're gonna. I don't know if you've noticed this, but he has different opinions sometimes, just to be different or just to be irritating.
I know Andrew to be difficult.
Yeah, he's very difficult.
Well,
he's gonna sit there and gauge what everybody else's opinion and say, well, you know what? I'm the opposite.
Yeah, probably
best
Ash.
Performance.
Ash.
So Ian Holm.
Yeah.
Okay. Ian Holm as Ash. What do you think?
I got to give it to Sigourney Weaver. I mean, I know it sounds a little cliched, siding with the main role, but I mean, she did a good job.
Yeah,
she did an amazing job. I mean, for what she had, and she was a very chill person at first, and then she was an analytical when it started getting serious, and then she's like went nuts at the end, and she was able to convey all that pretty convincingly, and I think I'm not sure you could have many actresses at that time that could carry it like this, because she does have a bit of a toughness to her, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, the
Less
other
femininity.
actress that was actually up for the role that was tied between was her and Meryl Streep. Yeah, I know. That's a weird combo.
No.
Yeah, they only chose Sigourney Weaver because Meryl Streep's husband, or is her husband or her mate or something, died, and so she was, mourning, and they're like, okay, we're gonna give this Sigourney.
I've heard so many stories of actors, actresses, directors, all getting these huge breaks just from randomness like that happening. I had to drop out because
Harrison Ford turned down the part for Dallas.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know he... Why would he turn that down? He's probably sick of space movies. Because this came out in 79, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Star Wars was 77. They're filming in 76. So, yeah, he's probably... He's like, look, I got 2 more ahead of me.
Yeah,
I got 2 more Star Wars. I don't want to be spaceships and everything. But this was very different. Because those are fantasy movies, whereas these are sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
So... All right, I agree. Sigourney Weaver, I think she gives it her all. No award this time. Thanks to Mr. Upstropolis over there. All right, best scene. I have two, and I'm trying to like dance between which one because I know I got to pick one. Okay, I'll pick one.
I'm gonna have to go. I don't know if you know yours first, then you can go ahead.
The air ducts. I think that was just beautifully
With
done.
Dallas?
Yeah,
And the beeping.
yeah, and the beeping, how they kept on
tension.
going back, and the tension.
Yeah,
was
I'd probably have to
building.
agree on
Music
that.
building up, the
Oh, yeah.
ambiance. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, I did not pick that, so I did. It was between the final alien airlock scene and the chest burster scene because it's just so iconic and everything.
Yeah.
But I did mention earlier that I really love that scene, so I'm going to change mine and say, cool, we'll award that the best
There you
scene
go.
in this movie is. Yep. Okay, we're gonna.
I liked Ian Holm because he.
Oh, we're gonna go to the best performance. Go back to best performance. Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Yeah. Well, I just thought because he played such a good villain slash guy for the man type, or the worker for the man.
So you thought he did a good job of being like your everyman, and then a good job of switching it over at the end, being not only am I an android, but I am a company android.
Correct.
And
I just thought he did that so well. Like, you know what I mean? His dialogue, and he could do that whole film almost straight pan faced. You know what I mean? Where it was like he didn't really show a ton of show a lot of like emotion, whatnot in a way, for the most part. Like he would smile, but it was always fake.
I'd probably give him at least second.
Yeah.
I think Kane is great.
He played Bilbo, right?
Yes, that was Bilbo.
Yeah,
that was my whole joke with the hobbits are quiet.
That's yeah.
But like Kane, like as good as of an actor as that dude is. What is his name? He played Ollivander in Harry Potter.
Harry Dean Stanton. No, John Hurt. John Hurt played.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Brett as Harry Dean Stanton. So
he also
John
played
Hurt,
the War Doctor in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep, he did. We saw him briefly in one episode of that.
Yep.
Was it one or two episodes, something like that?
Maybe.
But like he's an amazing actor, but he just did like he wasn't very present in the movie.
No.
Tom Skerritt is a very good actor, but he wasn't very present. He was I felt he was a good natural leader, but he was obviously just overshadowed by Ripley and her real leadership skills, doing the things that she should have, like keeping him out of the ship.
Yeah, he was like, "Come on, let us in," and we're like, "Don't you know everything?
You should know better."
Come on."
Yeah. And then Lambert, I didn't like. I think she was kind of just
whiny.
She was whiny. She put a lot on Ripley that shouldn't have come to Ripley and everything, and she just wasn't much help.
No, she was no help whatsoever.
She just kind of cried a lot and everything. And then, of course, Brett and Parker were just kind of being little bitches all day. So.
Yeah, the whole time. That's their whole buddy thing because they're both engineers and they're both together.
It was like the
I did like
non-race at
that
the station or something.
I do like whenever the ship came down and it kind of crashed a little bit and they had to fix it.
Yeah.
And they're talking just between themselves, like, how long do you think it's going to take to fix it? He's like, I go 15 hours. And he gets on the comm. Yeah, it's going to take us 24 hours to fix this.
I love it. And that's how it is at the bottom. You just, sometimes everything is waiting on you and you can take your time.
Yep.
Best line. This is probably more something that you could prepare. I chose Ash saying, "I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies."
Yeah.
Basically saying, "You're gonna die, but I'm sorry for what you're about to go through and everything." So I thought
that
was
little
such a
smirk
good
that he
line.
has.
Yeah, he's like, "You have my sympathies," and I was like, "Ooh, what do you think?"
For comedic purposes, I'll say the alien screech. But
I like it.
No, but I gotta definitely agree with you. That's that whole. I'm not gonna lie to you, but you about your chances.
Yeah,
that was great.
Sympathies.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's just one of those. I don't know, those juicy bits of dialogue that's just delivered perfectly. Now, there's tons of one-liners in the next one that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
game over, man.
Game over, man. Game over.
Good Bill Paxton.
Yeah. All right,
yeah.
man. So, all right. What's your favorite scenes?
Well, we
kind of discussed them.
Yeah,
but,
I'd have to say
we talked about what the best ones are, but is the best one's your favorite as well? Because I think the best Ghostbusters is part 1, but my personal favorite, I really like part 2, even though it's universally hated.
Yeah. Probably in the airlock with
The
Dallas.
airlock.
Yeah.
They're the air vents.
Air vents, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, we excited for Aliens?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all didn't know it's a double feature today.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch Aliens, and then after that, we're gonna watch Avatar.
Nope, not doing that. Not doing that at all.
We got Aliens.
Wait, did you get your quota?
I got my quota,
you
3.
got your quota.
There you go.
good.
We got Adrian for 3 episodes. We got him for Aliens, and Avatar.
There you go.
I'm gonna be going. I'm gonna be feeling.
And that's why we have Adrian, because Andrew won't be here for Avatar, because he's just gonna skate out on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you guys want to get a hold of us, we're on X at The Post Credits. Our email address is thepostcreditpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website. It's www.thepostcreditpodcast.com, and we're on YouTube. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next time.
And throw me a bone.
That was weird.